We're going to take these screws out right here. These screws can be really tight, and you usually have a problem trying to take them out. What you do is you take a driver like this, you put it on here, and you tap it. And it's still pretty tight, so we're going to use this driver here now to get this out. You put the driver on here like this. We just tap it on. These are a little bit rusty. These drivers come in very handy for anything that's rusted. When you put it on there like this and you hit it with the hammer, it rotates it counterclockwise to take it out. All right? Same thing on this one right here. All right, so all right, let me get some of this stuff out of here, and we'll come right back and pull this apart. We're going to take a small pry bar like this, and we're going to go in the back over here, and we're going to pry the piston back into the bore. So we start to push the piston back in. And you just hold constant pressure on it. You don't have to push it real hard. You just hold constant pressure and it pushes in very slowly. Now if you have like a rag or something underneath the bottom just in case your master cylinder's over full, it's a good idea to put it underneath there at this point. Okay, our pistons are pushed back in. We're going to check these slide pins here now to make sure they slide properly. And as you can see, they do move back and forth the way they're supposed to. And we're going to take out our 14mm bolt that holds the caliper in place. And we'll just take them out. Again, you want to use your tray to hold everything in so you don't lose it. We'll just take our caliper off for a minute. I'm just going to put it up there just for a minute. And now we're going to pull the brake pads away. That's the one brake pad. And it's the other one. We're going to put these down on the floor here for now. And then we're going to take off this this mounting bracket. It's a 17 or 18mm. It's an 18mm. I'm wrong, it's a 19mm. Okay. And then we're gonna replace this hardware in here, but we'll come back to that in just a minute. Now this rotor here, we're gonna take it off. We're gonna bang it a few times and get it to pop right off. So we're gonna hit it right here on the side. As you can see, sometimes getting those rotors off, it's a real pain in the rear end. So, all right, let me just clean up a little bit here. and we'll come right back. Now we have to make sure that this part of the hub itself is no rust on there. If there's any rust, it's going to create a problem with a pulsating pedal. So we're going to clean this up now with this scraper, and then after the scraper, we're going to use some emery to make sure it's nice and clean. Now once we have that cleaned off, we take our new rotor. Now this rotor here, I did clean it already with brake cleaner, and we're going to put it back on so that those holes right there line up. Now I do want to tell you this, I did check this rotor against the old rotor to make sure they were exactly the same, and they are. Now, it's personal preference. If you want to install that, you can. I always try to install them because it's a lot easier to hold the rotor in place so that it doesn't move around. So I am going to put this on there. Well, we'll come back to that in just a minute. Next thing I want to show you is this. Bring you in here, I'll show you what I'm going to do next. We're going to change this hardware right here, and we're going to make sure that that's nice and clean and neat there. Put this off to the side. Let's open up our brake pads like that. Okay. Now, before we go any further, let's match up the brake pads and make sure that they're correct. Put them back to back and make sure that they line up evenly here and here. And you can see that that's an exact match. So now we know that this one is the outer. This is the outer brake pad. And we know that this has the disc indicator on it right here. You can see the indicator. So you want to make sure you take the correct shoe. This is the shoe. That's the inner. And the reason you can tell it's the inner is right here. You can see where the piston was touching. See? Make sure you have your sensor in the correct location. See, this is the other side. And you can see that that sensor is actually a mirror image. It's in a different location. All right, so this one is not the right one, but this one is. All right? So now we have our two shoes that we're going to put back into the caliper itself. Into the caliper mounting bracket, I should say. All right, now we're going to take off this piece here. Just press it up with a screwdriver, pry bar, or whatever. Just like that. And leave them in the location where they came off so you know this is facing to the inside. And now what we're going to do is we're going to come in here, and you see right in here, we're going to clean up any kind of rust that's in here. If there's any rust there, we want to clean it off now before we put it back together. So we're going to take off this piece right here, and we're just going to put a little bit of lube. I always put a little bit here where the hardware is going to go, just like that. Doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit. Okay. We're going to put a little bit on the brake pad itself, right here, like that. Okay. We're going to put this to the side for now. We're going to take a little bit here, like this. On this one here at the same time. Just like that. Okay. And we're going to put this off to the side as well. Now we'll put our hardware back in. Always match up your hardware to make sure it's the correct one. Okay. And there you can see it's the right one, and it's going to be pushed in right through here to lock it in place. So let's put it over the top, push it down. like that. And you made sure that this piece right here is pushed down all the way right in there. And it is. See? Next thing we're going to do now is we're going to take this one, put it off to the side because that's trash. We're going to take our next one and match it up again. Make sure it's the same, which it is. Put that off to the side there. And we're going to put this back on just like this, just like we did the other one. Make sure that it's pushed down all the way in. And you can see it's in there all the way. All right, next thing we're going to do now, we're going to put these off to the side for now. We're going to take out these slide pins right here. We're going to lubricate them, but I got to get a rag and wipe it off. And then we'll lubricate it and put them back in. So let me go grab a rag, and we're going to take a little bit of lubricant like that, put it on the bolt like this, and then we'll put it right back in here, turn it and rotate it. And you want to make sure when it pushes down all the way that it pops right back up in there, just like that. All right, now we're going to do the same thing to this one, and then we'll remount it, but I think we need a new pair of gloves. All right, we finished lubricating that one right there now, so now we're all set to put everything back together. Now you remember that the brake pad with the indicator was on the inside. So we're just going to take this like this, put it in here like this, and you just turn it. After we have the brake pads back inside the mounting bracket, we're going to put the bracket back onto the car. We're just going to put it on the top like this. And we're going to catch both bolts. We're not going to tighten them up real tight. We're just going to catch them both for now, and then we'll snug them in by hand first. You want to make sure your brake pads don't fall out. And then once you have them screwed in by hand, both of them, we're going to tighten it up with the ratchet. Now you'll notice also I put in that other screw that was right here. I put that back in as well. Now we're going to take our caliper, bring it back over here. And as you can see, maybe you can't see, these pistons did not push in all the way. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you how to push them in the rest of the way. What you can do is take your brake pad, put your brake pad in here and here, and they make a tool like this that actually pushes the pistons back in. This is only one example. There is a lot of different kinds out there. And you just go nice and slow until the pistons push all the way back into the bore. Okay, we'll take our tool back off, take our brake pads out. Now, any place that touches the pistons, I always put a little bit of brake grease. So we're just going to put a little dab on there, and we're going to lubricate every place that the brake pad touches. Doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit. Okay. Now we'll take our caliper, put it over the top, just like this. And then we're going to push in those slide pins on the top and the bottom. And then we're going to catch both of these 14mm bolts. And then once they're both caught, now we're going to tighten them up. That's it, we're nice and tight. Make sure this is tight here, and it is. Okay, so that's it.